Welcome to another episode here in Seminar School Plus. Ako po si Arman Benco ng Colayco Foundation at ng KSK Co-op. Salamat at through RHTV, sa various cable operators that carry RHTV, kayo ay nanonood. Or dun naman sa mga nanonood via the internet, welcome to another episode here in Seminar School Plus. We shall now continue itong ating financial literacy, talking about the 10 commandments in managing your personal finances. Medyo mahaba-haba na yung na-cover natin dito sa 10 commandments. Naka-anim na tayo actually. And we will review them probably one slide per commandment. And these commandments are the following. Number 1, pay yourself first. Number 2, define your financial target at each life phase. Commandment number 3, stop spending on things that decline in value. Commandment number 4, protect your greatest income-generating asset, that is yourself. Commandment number 5, grow with the economy, beat inflation. And commandment number 6, trust the power of compound interest. For today, we shall get into the latter half of our 10 commandments. Dito pag-uusapan na natin yung investing. At ang unang commandment na, ang 7th commandment ang i-discuss natin, which is assess risks and options. The higher the return, the higher the risks. The last 3 commandments we will discuss in the next episode, yung commandment 8, 9, and 10. A quick review of the 6 commandments that we have discussed so far dito sa Seminar School Plus, the 10 commandments in managing personal finances. First commandment, pay yourself first. Simply, ito po yung pag-iipon na sinasabi natin. Ang pag-iipon ay binabayaran natin muna ang ating sarili. Kaya, hindi na ho tama yung equation na kapag pumasok ang pera, huwag ka masyadong magastos sana para pag may natira, meron kang savings. Hindi na po ganyan ang tamang savings equation. Ang tamang savings equation, pay yourself first. Bayaran nyo muna ang inyong sarili. Kahit ano, kahit kailan na pumapasok na pera sa inyo, in your household, sweldo, overtime, commission, sideline, coming from sideline or your work or your business, pay yourself first. Decide right away magkano ang inyong iipunin. Kung anong matira, yun ang ipagkasya sa inyong gastusin. Commandment number 2, define your financial target at each life phase. Merong 4 na yugto ang ating buhay. Sa bawat yugto ng ating buhay, maaaring meron yung depende sa age, hanggang tayo tumanda na at tayo magretiro. Meron din depende sa klase ng income na inyong kinukuha. Kapag kayo nasa startup phase, walang kinalaman ng edad, kapag 100% ng perang inyong ginagamit galing sa inyong sinusweldo o galing sa sariling yung oras at pawis, ibig sabihin yan, nasa startup phase kayo. Kapag kayo ay nasa build-up phase, 20% ng perang pumapasok sa inyo, hindi nyo pinagtatrabahuan. Build-up phase ang tawag doon. Then next is the asset allocation phase, wherein more than 50% ng perang pumapasok o ginagamit nyo sa pang-araw-araw, hindi na galing sa inyong sweldo. And of course, sa retirement phase, retired na, wala ng active income, wala ng sweldo, lahat ng perang ginagamit nyo galing sa inyong investment income or tinatawag nating passive income. Dapat ma-identify nyo at each life phase magkano na ang inyong investable funds or naiipon. Kapag kayo nag-umpisa, halimbawa, 30,000 pesos a month ang kailangan ninyo. Kapag kayo nasa build-up phase, dapat meron na kayong mga 360,000 na ipon. Pag kayo nasa build-up phase, mga 720,000 na ipon. Pinapalago to at nagbibigay sa inyo ng about 50% ng inyong pangangailangan. At about 7 million. For someone who is earning 30,000 pesos today, ang kailangan retirement fund niya pagdating ng mga 65 years old, mga around 7 million pesos. So titingnan nyo, magkano makukuha nyo sa SSS, sa kumpanyang inyong pinagtatrabahuhan. Kung magkano yun, ibawas nyo sa 7 million, kung anong diferensya, yun ang kailangan yung paglaanan or pag-ipunan at maabot para makumpleto ang 7 million retirement fund, ang inyong retirement kitty, sabi nila sa Ingles. Kasama sa defining your financial target at each life phase, dapat ginagawa nyo yung, pag minsan nababatikos sa ngayon, yung mga SALN sa mga government officials, sa mga politiko. Tayo bilang pribadong individual, Dapat inaalam din natin ang ating statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth para alam natin kung magkano na tayo ngayon or at a particular period of time. Nalalaman nyo, taon-taon, kayo ba yumayaman o bumababa ang inyong mga halaga bilang individual, bilang pamilya. Kasama rin dyan, syempre, yung pang-araw-araw na paglilista ng inyong money in and money out. Tawag dyan personal income and expense statement. Diniscuss din natin sa commandment na ito nung mga nakaraan na yung ano yung ideal na budget para sa isang household. Mga 35% para sa household expenses. Anything that involves having a home. Kasama na dyan ng kuryente, tubig, bayad ng amilyar, anything that is related. Dahil kayo ay meron tinitirhan o meron tahanan. Transportation, about 20%. Again, anything related for you being mobile. Kung wala kayong sasakyan, nandyan ang pamasahe. Kung meron kayong sasakyan, nandyan ang, kung binabayaran nyo pa yung sasakyan, amortization, gasolina, pangrehistro, maintenance, and etc. Anything that is related to you being mobile. About 20% ang pwedeng i-allot dyan. Living expenses, all the rest of the expenses, kasama baon ng mga bata, grocery, pamamasyal ninyo, pabili nyo ng gamit, damit, and etc. About 20% dapat nilalaan dyan. Pambayad sa utang, mga 15%. Sana wag lalagpas ng 15% ng inyong budget, buwan-buwan, pambayad ng utang. And of course, bayaran ng inyong sarili by way of saving. Dapat twice a month ginagawa nyo ang itong summary of monthly na listahan. Lahat ng nagastos sa nakaraang buwan at yung projected o binabudget nyo sa susunod na buwan. Kaya 2 beses buwan-buwan ginagawa itong pag-budget na ito. Commandment number 3, stop spending on things that decline in value. Diniscuss natin dito yung dalawang klase ng income na pwede nating kunin. Active income, passive income. Ang pinagkaiba ng dalawa, active income, ito yung pera na inyong kinikita kapalit ng sarili nyong oras, pawis. Ito yung sweldo nyo, overtime and commission and the like. Passive income, ito yung may ginawa kayo sa pera, nagbigay sa inyo ng dagdag na pera, yung dagdag na pera tawag passive income. Para kayo yumaman, or maging maayos ang inyong buhay pinansyal, kailangan meron tayong sources of passive income. Ang active income natatapos. Ang passive income, kayo magsasabi kailan mag-uumpisa, kailan matatapos. Kadalasan, nagkakaproblema kung sa paghawak ng inyong pananalapi sa pagbili ng needs or wants. Pinapaalala natin dito sa commandment na ito, kapag pangangailangan ang inyong kailangan gastusan, okay na gamitin ng active income. Kung luho naman, luxuries in life, or the wants that you have, dapat kailangan ng nagagamit nyo dyan yung kita ng inyong passive income. Ulitin ko, yung active income para sa needs. Kita ng passive income for your wants. Commandment number 4, ito yung pinag-usapan natin yung insurance. Protect your greatest income-generating asset, yourself. Pinaalala natin na ang insurance, kaya tayo kumukuha, hindi dahil investment, dahil there is a potential financial loss, great financial loss, kung merong mangyayaring sitwasyon. Kaya kayo kumukuha ng protection or insurance. Kadalasan, you will get a great financial loss sa mga dahilang may namatay yung breadwinner, nagkaroon ng sakit o nagkaroon ng injury, or sa property, yung bahay, sasakyan na malaki ang halaga na maaaring masira, mawala, or manakaw, kaya nyo pinoprotektahan for a potential great financial loss. Ang paalala natin sa insurance, lalo na sa life insurance, kung pure insurance ang gugustuhin nyo, identify nyo kung yun ang gusto ninyo or gusto nyo ng insurance with savings and investments. Kasi marami ng mga produkto, mga insurance companies that cover just that. And then work around the top 10 insurance companies in the Philippines. Makikita nyo yan sa Insurance Commission website ng Insurance Commission. Tingnan nyo yung features or riders ng insurance product. Kailangan nyo maintindihan yung binabayaran nyo. At anong benepisyo at kailan at paano nyo makukuha yung mga benepisyo. Whether it's living benefits or death benefits. Alamin yung mga kalakip na cost na binabayaran nyo dahil doon sa insurance na inyong kinuha. And last but not the least, build a good relationship with your insurance agent and the insurance company, because at the end of the day, you will have to deal with them one time or the other. Commandment number 5, pinaalala natin na dapat binabantayan nyo ang inflation. You have to grow with the economy. Inflation ngayon nasa mga 3.5%. Ibig sabihin, yung iniipon o pinapalago nyo, dapat higit sa 3.5% ang kinikita or ang paglago. Commandment number 6, ito yung diniscuss natin yung konsepto ng compound interest. Sinasabi natin na yung compound interest, ito yung kita, pinagkakakitaan nyo pa. And we presented it graphically na kung kayo nakakaipon ng 1,000 pesos every month, at ito napapalago nyo at 10% compounded, in the period of 30 years, yung karaniwang nagtatrabaho ang isang Pilipino, pwede kayong makakubra ng mga about 2.1 million pesos. Kung ito magdo-double the compounding rate at 20%, hindi lang dodoble yung 2.1, it will grow exponentially to 15.7 million pesos. 1,000 pesos a month, making use of the power of compounding. Ibig sabihin, hindi nyo kinukuha yung kita, hinihintay nyo marating yung takdang panahon and a specific target. Imagine ang lumabas sa inyo, 360,000 pesos. Ang potential na balik, 2.1 to 15.7 million. Yung iba nakakapagtrabaho 40 years. Kaya they can expect about 5 million to 97 million pesos. That is what compounding can do for you. Maraming nagbigay sa inyo ng questions, comments, nag-post sa aming Facebook, sa Arman Benko, i-search nyo lang yan sa Facebook. Tinatanong nyo, saan ba ako kikita ng 10% or 20% compounded pa? Kaya dapat nakatutok kayo lalo mula ngayon hanggang sa mga matapos natin itong 10 commandments dahil ang pag-uusapan natin more of investing. The first commandment or the seventh commandment deals with investment, is assess risks and options. Remember, the higher the return, the higher the risks. Ano bang ibig sabihin nito? Kasi lahat ng inyo pong kikitain manggagaling sa peligro or risk na inyong kukunin. The returns that you will get, the rewards that you will get, will come from the risks that you are willing to take. So, sa mas malaking risk, yung mga mas matatapang at mas naintindihan yung investments, makakaasa kayo ng better returns. Yung mga low risk, you can only expect low returns. Hindi po pwedeng mabali yan. Hindi natin pwedeng mabaluktot yung relasyon ng risk and return. Just like the risk pyramid. Itong nasa ibaba, ito ang mga low risks. Nandyan ang bank account, savings or time deposit, nandyan ng government securities like treasury bonds or treasury bills, or yung mga corporate paper, yung mga pribadong kumpanya na nagpautang, notes and bills, and other fixed income. Low risk po yan, pero makakaasa ka low return. Yung mga medium risk, yan yung real estate, magme-mutual funds ka, stock market, medium risk ang kinukuha nyo rito, kaya ang mga returns nyo dyan ay mga 10, 15, 20%. Yung pinaka-high risk, ito yung mga futures, options, yung very sophisticated na, maaari kang kumita ng 50% in one day, pero napaka-high risk. Kapag tumataas na po yung pagkakataon, yung pinakamataas yan ng mga matataas at malalaki ang kita o paglago. Habang tumataas ang pagkakataong kumita, tumataas din ang peligro na inyong kukunin. So ano bang ibig sabihin ng peligro or risk? Simple lang ho. The chance that an investment's actual return, ang kanyang kikitain o paglago, hindi ang inyong inaasahan. Ibig sabihin, ang risk, kung ano ang inyong inaasahan, malamang hindi yon ang inyong makukuha. Kapag mataas ang risk, ibig sabihin, mas malaki ang tsansa na hindi yung inaasahan nyo. Pag low risk, mas malaki ang tsansa na makukuha nyo yung inaasahan nyo. Pero ang kadikit niyan, kapag mataas ang risk, malaki ang tsansang kumita ng malaki. May tsansa rin na, yung sinasabi sa baba, na mawala ang inyong pera. Mababa ang risk, mas malaki o mas maliit ang tsansa na maliit o hindi makukuha nyo yung inaasahan nyo. Pero maliit lang ang pwede mong kitain. Ang risk, hindi po mali, hindi masama. Hindi rin ibig sabihin, mawawala agad ang inyong pera. Ang risk is yung chance na makukuha nyo yung hindi nyo maaasahan. Mas malaking risk, mas malaking tsansa. Mas maliit na risk, mas halos siguradong makuha nyo yung inaasahan nyo. Pero maliit na kita. Ano ba yung iba't ibang klaseng risk? Marami ho yan. Pag minsan sa isang instrumento, naghalo-halo yung different types of risks. Nandyan yung credit or default risk. Ibig sabihin, yung pinahiram o pinautang, hindi na makakabayad, whether it's a country, whether it's a company, or an individual. Meron naman yung country risk. Dahil dun sa bansa, kung nasaan yung investment vehicle na yon, ay napakagulo. Ang mga negosyo, hindi kumikita. Ang politika, sabog-sabog. Merong mga rebellion na nangyayari. Basta yung bansa, napakagulo. Peace and order is compromised. Country risk ang tawag doon. Kahit yung stock market nila o yung government securities ng bansang magulo is considered high risk under the type of risk na country risk. Meron naman yung foreign exchange rate risk. Pag minsan kasi, miski na maganda yung takbo ng investment sa isang bansa, dahil tumaas o bumaba ang kanyang exchange rate, lalo na kumpara sa dollar, miski na maganda yung performance ng stock market doon, halimbawa ay lumago ng 10%, pero yung pera naman ay bumaba ng 5%. So, neto, ang paglago mo lang is at 5% because of the foreign exchange factor. So, kailangan tinitingnan din yan kung kayo ay naglalagak sa ibang bansa. Next is the interest rate risk. Katulad dito sa Pilipinas, ang Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, binababaan ang interest rate risk. Kaya ang mga fixed income investments tulad ng government securities, corporate bonds, o yung mga long-term notes ng mga bangko, ang bababa ng pwedeng yung kitain. Why? Because of interest rate risk wherein the BSP comes into play, binababaan o kinokontrol niya ang mga interest rates. Nandyan din ang political risks. Related to the country risk, depende dun sa sitwasyon ng political situation ng isang bansa, like dito sa Pilipinas, pwedeng maapektuhan ang performance ng inyong investments. Pero ang magandang sitwasyon ngayon, lalo na the past 5-10 years, yung takbo ng ating ekonomiya dito sa Pilipinas, medyo somehow nai-insulate kung ano man yung nangyayari sa ating politika. Ibig sabihin, kung magkaroon man ng mga skandalo o magkaroon naman ng magandang epekto sa eleksyon, yung takbo ng ekonomiya natin, tuloy-tuloy pa rin. Yung stock market natin will perform pa rin based on market forces, not just because of the political situation. And last but not the least, and commonly happening or common among all investment vehicles, market risk. Siyempre, ang ibig sabihin ng market risk, meron pa ba tumatangkilik? Meron ba nag-i-invest or kakaunti? Marami ba nagbebenta? All that falls under market risk. Like the stock market or yung ating debt market, yung fixed income market. So, what will you do with risks? Ano ba dapat gawin kapag may risk na involved sa inyong investment? Tandaan, risk will give you the returns. Kaya nga, the higher the risks, the higher the returns. So what do you do with risks? First, identify the risks involved. Ano bang klaseng risk yung kasama? Country risk ba? Interest rate risk ba? Or market risks? After you identify the risk involved, alamin nyo po kung sa inyong sarili, ano bang klaseng risk ang kaya nyong tanggapin? Gaano kalaking risk ang kaya nyong matake? Depende doon sa inyong against your investments. And last but not the least, do not run away from risk. Manage and mitigate the risks involved. There are ways to manage and mitigate risk. Number one is time. If you invest longer time horizon, there is a chance to lower the risk and even increase the chances of earning better. Ways of managing and mitigating the risk, huwag kang masyado maglabas ng pera. Kakaunti lang ilagay mo sa ganitong high-risk investments or do not invest at all in that particular investment. So, risks is actually an investor's best friend because diyan manggagaling yung inyong pwedeng kitain. Kapag kayo nagpapalago ng pera, gusto namin matanggap nyo, yung ano bang ibig sabihin kapag kayo nag-i-invest? Ibig sabihin ba nito, kayo ay pwede na mawalan ng pera dahil you are to take risks? Definitely not. Simply the definition of investing is kayo ay tumataya, you are committing to use money, dahil kayo ay umaasa lamang na kumita ng dagdag na pera base sa inyong long-term goal. Investing, even with risks involved, kailangan long-term. Sa panahon ngayon, ang long term, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Ang 3 years ngayon considered long-term na rin. Lalo na sa mabilis na pabago-bago ng takbo ng ating ekonomiya, ng panahon, 3 years, nako-consider na rin na long-term investment. Kapag kayo nag-i-invest, basic rules. Number 1, avoid the losers, stay with the winners. Itong commandment natin na the higher the return, the higher the risk, laging yung tatandaan, huwag kakalimutan. Huwag yung subukan baliin o baliwalain. Yung the higher the return, the higher the risks. Be patient, invest long-term. Katulad ng pagka-define natin ng investing. And of course, yung lagi natin napaalala sa mga previous episodes natin, PTT. Purpose, Target, Timeline. Kapag kayo nag-i-invest o nagpapalago, yung tatlong salita na yan, kailangan nako-cover nyo. Para saan ba yung perang nilalagak nyo? Ano ba ang tinatarget mong halaga? At gaano katagal na panahon binibigay mo para ma-attain o makuha yung tinatarget mong amount for that specific purpose. Isang very common purpose for everyone is the purpose of getting or building up your retirement fund. So, let's go through the exercise of addressing PTT. Purpose, Target, Timeline. Kung ang purpose natin is to get a retirement fund, kung halimbawa, kayo ay kumikita ngayon ng 20,000 pesos a month, pwede mong i-project, lalo na doon sa commandment number 2 natin na we do presented and discussed time value of money, yung 20,000 pesos, magre-retire ka in 20 years, ang timeline mo, yung 20,000 mo 20 years from now, hindi na 20,000 because of the thing called inflation, pagtaas ng mga presyo ng bilihin. Yung 20,000 pesos mo ngayon is 53,000 pesos na kapag ikaw nag-retire 20 years from now. So ano ang target mo? You need to target 9.1 million pesos. Kapag ito kumikita ng 7% at during your retirement, yung 53,000 pesos na kailangan mo buwan-buwan, hindi ka nagtatrabaho, darating sa iyo dahil you have built up your retirement fund with a clear target in that specific timeline. So question now is, magkano kailangan kong ipunin? At saan ko, gaano kalaki ang paglago ng aking iniipon para maabot ko ang 9.1 million in 20 years? The answer, if your investment is just giving you 10% on the average every year sa loob ng 20 years, you need to save 12,600 pesos. Every month, from now up to the next 240 months or 20 years, you will reach your 9.1 million pesos. Or at 15%, mas liliit na siya, 6,900. Or at 20%, you just need to save 3,700 pesos every month. Mula ngayon hanggang kayo magretiro, and you will get 9.1 million pesos if your 3,700 pesos every month averages 20% compounded over a period of 20 years, your timeline. Now, what if meron kayong naipundar na o meron kayong pang-umpisang kapital na 200,000 pesos? Mas liliit ngayon ang kailangan yung ipunin compared dun sa wala pang pang-umpisa. For a 10% earning rate, you just need to save 10,700 from a high of 12,600. Or, punta ko ako dun sa pinakamababa. You just need to save less than 600 pesos every month. Basta mag-average ng 20% over a period of 20 years, every year, you will get your 9.1 million pesos. Or, another way of looking at it, yung present value ng 9.1 million in 20 years. Ibig sabihin, if you have 1.35 million today, miski na hindi ka nagsasave every month, that 1.35 million, growing at 10% every year or at the average every year in 20 years, that 1.35 will reach 9.1 million pesos. Or, baba ako sa 15%, mas maliit, 556,000 pesos na lang. Or at 20%, you just need 237,000 pesos. Today, even without saving every month, that 237,000 is 9.1 million in 20 years, basta nag-average siya ng 20% growth every year over that period. So, this table will show you magkano ang present value or magkano ang kailangan yung ipunin buwan-buwan, whether you're starting from ground zero or meron kayong starting capital na 200,000. Doon sa libro ni Mr. Colayco na Pera Palaguin Workbook, madali nyo pong matututunan itong pag-compute or if you want to have your own customized purpose, target, timeline, lalo na para sa inyong retirement fund. Merong specific material doon sa kanyang Pera Palaguin Workbook, page 65, tawag doon Net Worth Planning, planning for your retirement. Now, what are the keys in investing? Meron kayo tatlong bagay na lagi nyo dapat tinitingnan pag kayo nagpapalago ng pera. Unang-una, yung kita o paglago, yield or return. Yung yield or return, ang paalala natin dyan, lagi nyo kailangan bantayan para talunin yung inflation, yung pagtaas ng mga presyo ng bilihin. And then, of course, define your target, your financial earning target. 10% ba to? 15% or 20%? Okay? Inflation is your strongest o pinaka-kaaway sa pagpapalago ng pera. Dahil ito yung kumakain doon sa purchasing value ng ating pera. Okay? Ang inflation compounded din. Okay? Paano tayo naapektuhan ng inflation? Imagine nyo na lang noong 2012, last year, 3.1% ang inflation. Yung 100 pesos na bilihin noong 2011, 103 pesos na noong 2012. Kung kayo nag-savings account lang, naglagay kayo ng 100 pesos, kung 1% ang binigay sa inyo ng savings account, 101 lang ang inyong savings account. Ang inflation, at dahil sa inflation, ang bilihin, 103. Obviously, hindi nyo na kayang bilhin. At kung dahil kailangan yung bilhin, miski na hindi nyo kayang bilhin, bibilin nyo at malamang gagamit kayo ng utang or credit. Kaya ang karaniwang Filipino household ay merong pagkakautang to cover yung difference ng pera nila, naipon nila, pinalago nila, na hindi tinalo ang inflation. Yung mga regular bank products na very familiar tayo at malamang doon kayo naglalagay ng pera, nakakalungkot, ang kanilang earning rate ay hindi lagpas ng inflation rate. In fact, sa kasalukuyan, ang mga savings deposit rates sa mga malalaking bangko, pinakakilalang bangko, wala pang kalahating ng 1%. Nasa 0.25 lang. Yung mga savings bank, thrift bank, rural banks, nakakapagbigay mas mataas, 1%. Bakit yung mga rural banks nakakabigay ng 1%? Dahil mas magaling ba sila dun sa mga malalaking universal commercial banks? No. Nakakabigay sila ng 1% yung mga rural banks because mas risky sila. Okay? Compared doon sa mga universal commercial banks. The higher the return, the higher the risk. Mas risky ang pera ninyo doon sa rural bank compared sa universal commercial banks. Yung mga time deposit ranges ngayon, 1% to 2%. Doon sa pinakamalaking bangko dito sa Pilipinas, mag-time deposit kayo ng 1 million pesos, hindi pa kayo bibigyan ng 1% time deposit rate. Ganyan, yan yung interest rate risk kanina na dinidiscuss natin ng mga types of risks. So makikita nyo, itong mga regular bank products na to, subject to tax pa to, 20% withholding tax. So ang neto ng savings deposit range o savings deposit rate is about 0.2%. Wala pang kalahati ng 1%. At yung mga time deposit from 0.6 to 0.7 net of taxes, yun lang ang makukuha nyo sa mga time deposit rates. Obviously, the regular, usual bank products are not the instruments to beat inflation. Inflation right now, as of this period, end of August 2013, is hovering about 3.5%. Ibig sabihin, kapag kayo nag-i-invest o nagpapalago, dapat higit sa 3.5%. Nakita na natin sa savings account, sa time deposit account, hindi natin pwedeng makuha o hindi natin makukuha yung talunin ang inflation. Merong instrumento, mutual funds, na-discuss na natin bahagya dito. Yung tatlong klaseng mutual funds, these are investment vehicles that obviously beat the inflation rate by a mile. Okay? Kaya sa mga susunod na episode natin, lalo na sa commandment number 8, wherein we will discuss types of investments, we will discuss thoroughly mutual funds and other investment vehicles that can beat the inflation rate. Okay? For FYI lang, noong 2010, the best performing mutual fund in just that year performed 64%. 2011, the best performing was about 12%. And last year, 2012, about 34%. So obviously, these instruments are the wealth generators, or at least will give you the returns that you will desire or set for yourself. 10% ba yun? 15%? Or 20%? But again, let me remind you, the higher the returns, the higher the risks. Okay? Another next key to look at when you are investing is risk and safety. Nasabi ko na that all returns will come from risk. Safety, follow the mantra or the cliche, investigate before investing. Okay? Alamin nyo kung ano yung kumpanyang pinaglalagakan nyo. Sino yung mga taong nasa likod? Ano ang track record nila? Sino ang ahensya ng pamahalaan na tutulong sa inyo at gumagabay sa kanila? At panghuli, naintindihan nyo ba kung paano nila palalaguin ang inyong pera? Kapag hindi nyo naintindihan, huwag ho kayong mag-invest doon sa instrumento na iyon. Okay? Risk and safety. Liquidity, on the other hand, ang ibig sabihin nito is gaano kadali, gaano kabilis, gawing cash yung investment nyo. Nilagay nyo sa mutual fund, sa stock market, sa lupa. Iba-iba ang liquidity factor niyan. Hindi dahil legal ang isang investment, madaling gawing cash kapag kailangan nyo ang cash. Dapat na kikita nyo kung anong instrumento ang madaling gawing cash. Obviously, ang savings account, time deposit, madaling gawing cash. Kaya maliit ang return. Sa mutual funds or stock market, it will take you 1 week. Matagal na matagal, halos imposible in 2 weeks bago nyo maging cash yung investment nyo. Sa lupa, ayan, malaki ang pwedeng paglaki o paglago, kaya maaaring dumoble, pero it will take some time for you to liquidate or gawing cash yung investment nyo sa real estate. So, these three, yield and return, risk and safety, and liquidity, kailangan nako-cover nyo yung mga aspeto ng inyong investment dito sa tatlong susi sa pagpapalago ng pera. Sa susunod na episode, we will discuss commandment number 8. Dito, kailangan tumuto kayo. Commandment number 8 is make money work for you. The power of leverage. Pag-uusapan natin dito yung types of investments, pag-uusapan natin yung performance ng mga iba't ibang klaseng investments, at a little investment strategy or some common investment strategies that you can take, an individual investor. At ang maganda rito, ang di-discuss natin, hindi yung mga sophisticated investments na kailangan nyo ng malaking bulto ng pera. You can start as small as 1,000 pesos and graduate to bigger investments as you get encouraged to invest more. Okay? Again, our 10 commandments. We have discussed 7 so far. Commandment number 1, pay yourself first. That means you're saving. Commandment number 2, define your financial target at each life phase. You get into financial planning. Commandment number 3, stop spending on things that decline in value. Be a wise spender. Commandment number 4, protect your greatest income-generating asset, yourself. That means protection equals insurance. Commandment number 5, grow with the economy, beat inflation. 3% inflation rate, dapat ang mga investments nyo lumalago 5%, 6% pataas para kayo lumalago kasabay ng ekonomiya. Commandment number 7, trust the power and use the power of compound interest. And what we discussed today, assess risks and options. Remember, the higher the return, the higher the risks. Next week, the 3 commandments. Make money work for you, the power of leverage. Commandment number 9, invest and diversify. And commandment number 10, make use of the power of one or the strength in numbers. Yung mga commandments na yan, na isulat yan doon sa unang libro ni Mr. Colayco, yung Wealth Within Your Reach. Currently, the Colayco Foundation has this 6 titles published out there in all bookstores nationwide. And you can even get in touch with the Colayco Foundation kung gusto nyo magpa-order diretso sa aming opisina, kung papadala nyo sa ibang bansa o sa ibang lugar dito sa Pilipinas, you can do so. Just visit our website www.colaycofoundation.com. Ini-invite ko naman kayo na to connect with me personally via Facebook. Just search Arman Benko sa Facebook. Makikita nyo na po ang aking Facebook as seen on the screen. Naglalagay ako dyan ng mga financial tips every so often. At pwede ko kayo magtanong, lalo na kung meron kayong gustong liwanagin na narinig nyo rito sa Seminar School Plus. And that is exactly what I will do right now before we close our session for today. I will try to answer some of the messages posted in the Armand Benco Facebook page. This is coming from Babette Kagiwa. Ang sabi niya, "Hi sir, ako po yung nag-ask sa iyo regarding when is the right or proper time to pull out an investment in mutual fund. Confused lang po ako doon sa investment ko sa FAMI Equity. Para po sa mga anak ko yon pag nag-college ang purpose. Ano po mas okay, pull out mga interest at retain ang principal amount or stay plus interest? Thanks a lot po. God bless you more." Okay, for Babette Kagiwa, stick to your plan. It's good that you monitor your plans regularly. If your purpose is for your education fund, college fund ng iyong anak, at ang pagkaalam ko, yung anak mo ay bata pa, stick to your plan. Focus on that purpose, that target. It may be a moving target, but at least you have a target. Kapag na-meet mo na yung target, that's the time to pull out. Not at any time dahil ngayon mababa ang market, baka bumaba pa. Once you are still within your range of your purpose, target, and timeline, basta, regular mo nang ma-monitor, you only pull out once you have meet your target. Sana within your timeline or baka even less pa. Then, malaki ang benepisyo para sa iyo. Next message, ito mahaba-haba, from Gina Tercero. Okay? Message nga nung pumunta siya sa Armand Benco Facebook page. "Sir, salamat po sa pagsagot nyo. Na-appreciate ko po ito. Kagabi nga po, nanood po ulit ako sa inyo sa RHTV. Napaka-helpful, informative, talagang enriching yung programa ninyo. Salamat, Miss Gina. Congratulations sa inyong lahat. I pray that the Lord bless you more for your generosity in sharing your knowledge to others. Thank you for opening our minds, eyes, and hearts for these investments." Talagang maraming mga Pilipino na sadyang matulungin, mga mabuting puso, at hindi makasarili sa pagtulong sa kapwa. In behalf of those Filipinos who are gaining knowledge through your program, mabuhay po kayong lahat. Maraming salamat, Miss Gina. Pero ito yung tanong ni Gina Tercero. "Sir, may tanong po ako, ano po ang kaibahan ng mga Sun Life Investment, Pro Life Investment, PhilAm Investment, BPI Asset Management, or Metro Asset Management? Sa experience nyo po at kung kayo po ang tatanungin, saan po kayo maglalagay ng pera nyo sa kanila? Salamat po." Ang pinagkaiba noong mga binanggit niyang kumpanya, yung Sun Life at PhilAm, more than anything, they are an insurance company first and foremost. Dahil sa ganda ng takbo ng ekonomiya dito sa Pilipinas at ganda ng investment climate, they also have fund management companies. Pero ang pinaka-core business ng Sun Life at PhilAm ay insurance. Dahil hindi kadali magbenta ng insurance, yung mga fund management company ng PhilAm at Sun Life nagbebenta na rin ng mutual funds. They are also good fund managers, kasing galing ng BPI Asset Management at First Metro Asset Management. What is my point? Any of the four, you will not go wrong. Yung Pro-Life naman, Pro-Life Investment, wala pa silang tinatayo talaga na public fund management company katulad ng Sun Life at PhilAm. Yung Pro-Life, insurance company pa rin sila. Their fund management is within the insurance company. Unlike yung Sun Life at PhilAm, may tinayo na silang ibang separate fund management company tulad ng BPI at First Metro Asset Management na binanggit ni Ms. Gina Tercero. Okay? Next post sa Armand Benco Facebook. "Good day, sir. I'm encouraged by your program in RHTV to save and invest. Salamat, Kellogg's. Actually, at my age now, 47, would you believe I still have the old style of piggy bank coins of 5 and 10 pesos coins, and at present, I have 35,000 pesos of 100 and 200 peso bills. And today, I've invested 34,000 to Pag-ibig, which gives me 4.9% per annum. Need your comments, sir." Okay, that's very good. At least hindi ka katulad ng karamihan na mas marami na hindi nag-iipon. Pero sana, as you, Kellogg's, as you've been watching Seminar School Plus dito sa RHTV, yung pera sa piggy bank sa ilalim ng unan at pagbinsan nga, miski na nasa savings account, nakita natin ngayon, kailangan tinatalo nyo yung inflation. Inflation at 3%, so dapat ang pera mo lumalago. Pag nasa alkansya, wala siyang katsansa-tsansa na lumago o kumita. It's good that you have invested in Pag-ibig, yung Pag-ibig Fund 2 siguro ito. Yes, I can confirm that they're giving about 4%. O yan, tinatalo niya ang inflation rate. Okay? So, my comment, continue saving. Be a voracious, just like how you are, Kellogg's. Continue regularly saving. But do not forget to grow that savings. Watch out for the inflation rate. Dapat tinatalo mo ang inflation rate. Another message from Leo Ronquillo. Itong messages po na ito, ulitin ko, nanggagaling sa Arman Benco Facebook page. Kapag kayo nilike yung page na yan, pwede na kayong magtanong ng question. Sabi ni Lerio, hello sir, pwede po bang mag-inquire kung magkano at saan pwede mag-invest sa mutual funds? Thanks and God bless. Okay, ang mutual funds, ang minimum niyan, 5,000 pesos. Pwede ka na mag-umpisang mag-invest sa mutual fund. Kung gusto nyo magdagdag ng investment sa inyong mutual fund, 1,000 pesos po ang minimum na subsequent or yung mga susunod na investment nyo pagkatapos ng initial na 5,000 peso investment. Next session dito sa Seminar School Plus, kapag commandment number 8, pag-uusapan natin na mas malalim ang mutual funds. Another message from Maria Francois. Okay? Good afternoon, sir. Interested po ako mag-invest for as low as 5,000. Saan po ba ako pwede mag-open ng account para makapag-umpisa? Thank you so much. Kung wala pa ho kayong kahit anong bank account, maganda mag-umpisa kayo ng bank account para magkaroon kayo ng presence sa financial world. Kung meron naman kayong bank account at may sobra kayong 5,000 pesos at hindi nyo naman gagamitin in the next 3 years and so on, i-consider nyo po yung mutual funds na nababanggit natin. Again, sa next episode ng Seminar School Plus, commandment number 8, we will discuss in deeper ang investment vehicle na mutual funds. Again, I invite our viewers, our attendees in Seminar School Plus, go check, search, and like Arman Benco in Facebook and post your questions, comments, inquiries, and I will try to answer them there in Facebook. At kung maganda-ganda ang inyong question, inquiry, or comment, allow me to also post it and present it here in Seminar School Plus. So this has been Arman Benco of the Colayco Foundation and KSK Co-op, thanking you again for attending another episode here on RHTVD Seminar School Plus by the Colayco Foundation.